Alrighty, here are my final four models textured. I did 3 in 3ds Max with GIMP and 1 in Substance Painter. So we have the plant bed here, just a wood frame, and then some dirt with some foliage in it. Pretty simple, but I think it looks pretty good. Let's jump over to the shield. I really like how this one turned out. Alrighty, so we have the shield here, we got the wood texture and the steel surrounding it, got the handle and the, I guess, base plate in the back. And then we have this cross, which I textured myself. This was just 2 rectangles I put on there, and then I erased a good bit of it. Then went over it again with a smoke brush to kind of show that the paint was fading in some areas. Overall, like how this one turned out. Let me jump over to the well now. This one was the most complicated one to do, but I think it actually looks pretty good in the end. Here we are. So we just use this plank texture here for the roofing. Then for the beams and the support structure, I used a wood beam texture I found. I tiled it. Added some sort of fade into it in some areas. Then we have the little lowering mechanism here. Then we have the rope. Now I will admit the rope is not too well unwrapped, but I think it's small enough that from a distance it shouldn't be too big of a problem. Then we have the well, which I like how the stone texture on this worked. I just grabbed one from one of the texture websites. I painted some moss on, and I don't think you can see it, but I did add some water damage into a few of the grooves. And this is not perfectly tiled, as you can see right here if you zoom in, but I think, again, like the rope, I don't think that'll be too much of a problem. But alrighty, that's all of the models I made in 3ds Max, so I'll jump over to Substance Painter to show you what I did for the centerpiece. Alrighty, and then here is my centerpiece, which is made in Substance Painter 3D. If I can remember the controls, there we go. So I had to split it up into 3 parts because I was having a problem where they were overlapping in the texture area here. And I didn't really know how to fix it, and I didn't have time to try and figure it out, so it's a bit of a jury-rigged solution, but I think it'll work. It worked out in the end. So they didn't have a bark texture here in the sides, so what I did was I just grabbed a wood, I think it was this walnut texture. Then this was all, it came with the texture, I didn't do this. So I just painted on some bark because there's a bark brush, and then I used a MG generator for dirt and some metal edgeware, which is an odd thing to put on a tree, but I think it actually did get as close as I could to the roughness that I would expect I'd find on a tree. So yeah, we just painted that on there. I think it looks alright. That's the main trunk. Then there's the branches over here. Let me load that up. Here we are. With this one, it didn't matter so much that the branches were overlapping in the UVs there. But yeah, just did the same basic thing here. Just changed the values and painted on the bark a little differently. So those are the branches. And then we have the roots. There we are. And for this one, I did do the texture a bit different. We used the walnut again. I did not use the metal edgeware, and I changed the values on the dirt level here. Because when you look at roots, they don't tend to have that barky texture. They are still a little rough, which is what we tried to do here to show that. But yeah, they are a good bit smoother than the tree. So yeah, I think that looks alright. And then I will just put them all together in the engine this week. Alrighty, those are the models.